But one of the congressmen was effective in asking the gentleman when and how much had they invested in their own companies lately. And that was interesting. Maybe 6 out of 9 had not put a penny in their own companies lately. One of the congresswomen, Latino woman, was very effective in resolving the contradictions in their conversation and their actions. And in fact, as what happens in most hearings, having been a staff member to an elected official, you're prepared to have those questions written so that they answer post the hearing, or that you have individuals who have been violated by the company, and the company's willing to square away those individuals brought to them by the elected officials. And elected officials are very good at bringing forth the names and the circumstances of people who need assistance or have been violated. One woman had been paying 6% or 9% interest on her payments, paid them on time for 10 years, and her interest rate went up to 24% without due cause.
Yeah.
And, of course, there's a law that they changed that won't come into effect for another 18 months, which almost makes the law moot. Credit card companies can charge anything they want at any time they want without just cause. They can flip the due dates. They can force you into bad. Now, check this out. They got people sucking ass for FICO scores or credit scores, but the people that they're getting the credit from, scores are worse. And the people got to begin to rate the people who are rating them. Too often, people who are the stakeholders at college campuses where students put the money. There's not one teacher in the history of any university that put money in the university. They take money out of the university. So don't ever let someone who takes money out of the pot that you put money in tell you what you're going to do when you're the one that's paying the piper, you to call the tune. And the victims have to learn how to stand up and focus and call the shots where they throwing the balls on the rack. And students are always befelled by administrators and restrictions and laws and other things that make college like being in jail. But they're the only ones that put money in the pot. They're the ones that call the tune. Government says, you take my money, I call the tune. That's the reality. So who is playing all this music out here? Since most of these people are unable to do for themselves, they have to depend upon their avowed enemies to assist them. Many times people work for the people who they swear they stand against. There's confusion. There's confusion on the battlefield. So in those lectures, I try to get, and I try to be funny about situations. At this last lecture, there was a very beautiful woman, finest woman in the room, but she was running around, standing outside, telling people, calling people, telling them Coakley wasn't even going to be there. Now, Coakley was going to be there. Coakley was already in town. But there were people out there going, Coakley wasn't going to be here. That's the intelligence community. So I also teach them about the spy system. Once I got there, we had some strange things. My luggage and my research didn't arrive. Now, one thing you know about me, I brought 2 suitcases for a 2-day trip because the DVDs, the CDs, and the research take up 75 pounds right there. You allow 50 pounds in a bag. So I need 2 bags so I can get all of the research. So they took the bag with the research and my clothes in it, and I didn't get that bag before the first lecture.
Wow.
But I could quote every single paper, every single line on every single stitch of everything that I have because it's ingrained in my mind. It's etched into my soul. I mean what I say. But they can take it, and I can show them that I don't need it. I only bring it to show the audience. I also showed what's kind of interesting on the second night. I showed caricatures of me that were in the Chicago Sun-Times and in the Chicago Tribune. And one of them had offices like you're in an office. You're in a hallway, and you're looking at names on the office doors. And it had Steve Coakley, Special Projects Director, Mayor. And then next window had Himmler. I don't know his name too good, but he was Special Assistant, Special Projects Man for Hitler. And they put me on one door, and they put Hitler's dude on another door. And then I talked about, since I ain't never been arrested, ain't never been accused, ain't never hit nobody, in my life. Let's see what they were saying when they put me up there next to the man that supposedly was in on murdering millions of people. Since I never committed a crime, let's see what they meant. It meant that if the information that I share with you today makes a difference in your life, then we will murder white supremacy, hatred, racism, slavery, and all of the other things that I stand against. And they can stand up and tell you that I will kill them, but I kill them by teaching and moving and assuring you that we will make the changes necessary. So I showed another one. They had Al Campanis. They had, what was this other dude? Jimmy the Greek and me. And they were like affirmative action. And now Al Campanis was a Dodgers field man who made some racist comment. And Jimmy the Greek lost his job when he made some comment about athletes and blacks and their physical build. And right at that same period was the Steve Coakley situation. But the interesting thing was that it was character assassination. I teach character assassination, and I showed that those same people that were attacking me, they attacked me when I did Anti-Columbus Day. Say Coakley in the editorial, Chicago Sun-Times, October 10th, 1985. Those other articles that I just mentioned you can find in April and May of 1988, Chicago Tribune, Chicago Sun-Times, Chicago Defender, New York Times, Economist, Newsweek, Time, Jet. I don't care what it was. They were all trying to step on my throat, not because I ever committed a crime. I was a good kid, never done anything or against anybody other than when I found them in the wrong position. But they lined me up. They put me out there like I was the biggest murderer they ever saw. But we will murder the ignorance that allows these punk, filthy bastards to survive and profit in this world. But as the day changes, as the world turns, they come closer to where we stand. They are falling just while we're sitting here. They're falling some more today, stepping and confusing each other as they start to go down the drain. Who gonna get their asses out of trouble when trouble comes? This is the kind of trouble you can't never get out of. This kind of trouble you can't stop. You hitting your toe, walking in the wall in the middle of the night with nobody there but you. And it's dark, and you start to do things to yourself, self-infliction. So I make sure they understand there's karma out here, that they will reap what they will sow. Good causes bring good effects. It's an eye for an eye. And it's time called. You can call the time that wheel takes its turn towards the top. You can call that time, but you need the authority, and you need moral authority. I talk about pawns together. I do a little demonstration. I stand in the middle. I put a brother on each side of me, and we lock arms. We call ourselves pawns linked together. And for the people in the room that play chess, that I tell them what would happen if somebody took one of us. With us linked together, it automatically meant they would be taken. But when somebody from afar looks at us, the knights, who I say are the secret societies, the two up and one over make an angle. Knights of Templar, Knights of Malta. We can knight them, Knights of the Round Table, and International Order of B'nai B'rith Lodges. We can go through those and explain the knights, and then there's the bishops, the church, and the role the church plays in keeping the kingdom. Churches don't fight the rich and the powerful. Zygmunt Brzezinski said in Out of Control that for some reason, with all its so-called moral authority, the churches have found a way to accommodate the rich and the powerful. And we've talked about figures on churches here, 43,000 denominations in the world, 20 with over 1 million members, 8 with over 100 million members, and 2 with over 1 billion members, Islam and Christianity. We talked about that in the past here, but all of that religion doesn't amount up to an ounce of fight power against evil. We start picking them off as they get off. One get off in the violence, one get off in the raping children. One get off in the money, other get off in the subjugation, false idol worship. We can go on and on. So I teach that chessboard and the crooks or the rooks. No kingdom could operate without a mafia. In St. Louis, the mafia was real strong. I made them holler out the names of the mafia people in St. Louis. Some had their stores burned because of the mafia, but the mafia was a ruthless operation in St. Louis. And